You're listening to the Smith House Adventure Show.
So I actually started rowing back in 2000. I was just about to start high school, and I found out that they had a high school rowing team. And so the summer before grade 8, I took a Learn to Row, and that 5-day Learn to Row program that I did, I absolutely fell in love with it. And I was like, this is my sport. And always as a kid, my mom was like, find a sport that you love, and that you can do until you're 100. And so when I found rowing, I absolutely fell in love with it. I ended up joining the high school rowing team, which rowed through the fall. And then I ended up joining a club team. And then I rowed from January till July or August before school started up again in September again. And I started rowing for the school again. So I did that from grade 8 to 10. I was on a club team. And then in grade 11, I ended up making the international travel team through another club in Victoria, British Columbia. And we ended up competing at the Junior World Championships in Athens, Greece. So I did that my summer of going into grade 12. And then I continued to train with the international travel team through high school or through grade 12. And then unfortunately, we didn't make the Worlds again for 2004, I guess. 2003 is when I went to Worlds. And then 2004, we trained. There wasn't a female team in 2004, but we trained, we did international competitions. We rowed all over the US and Canada and did a bunch of different competitions through that. So I raced in the junior women's quad in Athens, Greece. And we did very well there. And then I just continued to row. And then I ended up rowing for the University of Victoria for my 5 years there. And I was the captain of the women's rowing team for all 5 years as well.
Wow, that's amazing. What was it that you almost felt that right away? Like, what, as opposed to other sports that you might have been introduced to and stuff, what was it that you're like, I'm not doing any of those. This is the passion.
This is my sport. You know what? As soon as I got in a boat, I've always loved the water. I competitively swam, including while I was rowing. I used swimming as like a form of cross training anytime I got injured and every time in between. But rowing, it was just getting on that water, getting your blades into the water and just pushing, right? It's a whole body workout, like from your legs to your arms to your core. And I loved just that. It wasn't very peaceful rowing because you're rowing as hard as you possibly can. But there's that aspect of like individual trying to be the best you can be, but also having to work so cohesively as a team. Everybody has to be moving in the exact same movement at the same time in order to propel the boat fastest down the course. So I ended up doing very well, even in like early rowing days and, rowing up with different groups of like the older, I call them the older girls, but like I was a junior, they were a senior. And I loved it. And there was actually one regatta. It's called a head race. So you start one at a time and it's almost like a time trial. And this race was you row all the way to the start line, all the way up Shawnigan Lake. So it's about 7 or 8 kilometer race, but you row up that 7 or 8 kilometers and then you race back. And I did that. I actually rode, there's like 2 starts. There's a morning start and an afternoon start. And I ended up racing both. I raced one with my team and one with the senior team. By the end of that regatta, my hands were toast. They were ripped to shreds. Like I couldn't even close my hands at that time. And I remember, my parents were so supportive of me rowing and were at every regatta that they could be at. And I remember just holding my hands like this on the way home. And my mom drove me home and she goes, Heather, we can find you another sport. Like, oh my gosh, your hands. And I looked her dead in the face and I said, oh no, Mom, I love this. And through like blisters and what we call rail bites, where like the backs of your legs get all eaten up. And even through injuries, I just kept that passion for rowing. And I raced from, 1999, 2000, all the way up till 2010 when I graduated at UVic.
Thanks for your time. Please like, subscribe, and comment to help grow the show. And remember, get back up.